What's up, Sammy?
What's up, Parker? Elevation Nation, how the heck are you? It's a cold, brisk winter evening here, but we're excited to share with you the latest episode of Fortitude in 15. We had on an incredible guest this week. If you haven't checked it out, psychotherapist Marissa Robinson was on, and we talk all about mental health, some stigmas behind mental health, some tips and tricks that will help you working from home and with the days getting shorter and colder. I think everyone's mental health is really important, and we're going to continue that conversation a bit today by talking about some really important resources that everyone should know about when it comes to mental health. So I'm excited to get into it with you, Parks.
Well, first of all, it's cold and brisk where you're at. You have to remember that you're only half this room, so it's nice in Florida. I wouldn't call it cold. It's a little sunny. I definitely think it was rainy today, but that's fine. Rain comes and goes. But yes, this is an important topic that I think is very important for young adults. It's very important for every adult. It's very important for any person that walks on this planet. Mental health is becoming more and more of a hot topic. And I think there are many, many resources out there that people can use to improve their mental health or take care of their mental health. And Sam, I know you and I both agree that you don't need to work on your mental health if it's only, you're broken. If you're good, you're bad, whenever it is, it's always a good time to work on your mental health. So I'm looking forward to this conversation today. We'll give like a little tips, some things that we've done in our lives when it comes to using resources for our mental health. Obviously, we don't have all the right answers. Obviously, we have our opinions. So there's no right or wrong answer. We just want to provide you with what we've gone through and what we've used.
And to Parker's point, mental health is something that you can work on every single day to help you grow and be happier and more fulfilled as a person. But also, we're going to highlight in this episode some really important resources for people who are maybe beyond that point and really struggling, who need some serious help quickly. And there's nothing wrong or to be ashamed of with that, but it's important to recognize kind of which stage you're in so that you can find the right resources at the right time for you. So with that being said, I want to start with a really cool preventative mental health resource that, again, goes back to our analogy of mental health being just like going to the gym for your physical health, something you need to do for your mental health. And this one's called moodgym.com. Moodgym.com. It's got over 1 million users worldwide. It's totally anonymous and confidential. And it's like an interactive self-help platform to help you with skills to prevent and manage depression and anxiety. So this is one of those more preventative measures around mental health, but highly recommend you guys check it out if you're looking for a way to go to the gym, not just for your body, but also for your mind.
Love it. We've always talked about that analogy. I mean, you could search on Google. You literally just search mental health resources and you'll get so many things that pop up, things you can read about, videos you can watch on YouTube. But as a young adult, I think my recommendation or one of my pieces of advice is to explore, if you're working right now, explore the resources that your employer offers to you regarding mental health. I know the employer that the company Sam and I work with, they prioritize mental health resources for all employees. And we have access to a counselor if we want to take up on those 25 sessions a year. There's also like sleep apps that we can use. We can get involved with like meditation apps. There's resources to speak with like a hotline. If someone, if you're not feeling good, you can call and they'll help you navigate through that. Like there's so many different resources, probably things that I don't even know that are there that you can take advantage of. So I think my piece of advice is just like hit up your HR person, be like, hey, what resources do we have for mental health? I'm just curious. And you'll be probably shocked to find out some of the resources that they provide. And if they don't provide any resources or resources that you find like applicable for you, I think it's in your best interest to then speak up and and say like, this stuff is important to me. Could I recommend this? And I think HR or a leader in a company would take that to heart. Because this is a hot topic. It's one of the most important topics I think companies are thinking about right now, as the pandemic is not going away. We've clearly figured that out, and people are going to the heart of winter, and depression and anxiety is at its highest, especially among young men and young women. So speak up for yourself, but also speak up for the people that you work with and surround yourself with.
Absolutely. I think a lot of employers nowadays, luckily, have some really cool resources for you to use and benefit from when it comes to mental health. But another avenue, if your employer maybe makes you uncomfortable and you don't want to go through them and you don't feel, confident enough speaking out, is going through your insurance provider. A lot of us are on our parents' insurance until 26 years old, and we don't even realize or recognize some of the benefits that are on that insurance plan. So go online, log into the website for your insurance provider, or give them a call and ask what mental health resources are included in your plan. You'd be surprised. You might even be able to talk to a therapist, have a few sessions, and kind of go from there. So that's another way that you can really take advantage of your insurance, get the full benefits of it, but not have to pay out of your own pocket too many expensive costs that sometimes come with having a therapist every week.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not cheap. And I think what is unfortunate is that a therapist can be very expensive, and that kind of deters you away from having those conversations. So if it is too expensive for you, maybe you should just start with having conversations with the people that you do know, like friends or family, and get vulnerable enough to talk through what you're going through. Sometimes I feel like as a young adult, we hold things in because we don't want to portray that we're not doing well. We're not doing, good. It looks bad on ourselves and we feel bad. Like, we don't want to tell people that we're not doing well. Speak up, because your mental health depends on it, and your family and your friends, the people who care for you, should be there to help you through that, and not they're going to give you the best, psychotherapist advice, but they're just going to be there to support you and provide you with a new perspective on how to go about that challenge that you're going through, or just be there to, hold your hand as you go through something challenging. So that is a free resource that you should always take upon yourselves, whether you're feeling good or you're feeling not.
So just to make sure that this doesn't turn into Parker and I reading an encyclopedia of resources for you guys, I want to break it up here and tell a quick story about when I first attempted to get a therapist. So like Parker said, we get some therapy resources through our provider at work. And what I did was I called into this hotline, and, one of the things they ask you is, are you okay? Do you need like help right now in this moment? AKA, are you having thoughts of harming yourself or others? And that honestly startled me, that question at first, because again, I was calling I was bored. I had some free time. I was feeling a little glum living in New York City and just not really knowing what I wanted to do with my life. And that question was really off-putting for me of damn, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe this is for people with serious mental health issues and illnesses and problems, and maybe I'm wasting people's time. And so that was kind of scary for me when I first started researching and getting into therapy, and it made me hang up and not want to get a therapist. But luckily for me, I had friends that had gone to therapy, and I talked to people about it, and they said, you are valid in wanting to talk to someone. Whatever stage you are in your life, it is okay. And so I don't want people to be turned away or off put by that thought that I had, which I think is a valid one, but also you need to take care of yourself too. And you're not taking the place of anyone else. So that's one quick thing that I wanted to highlight there. And that was hard for me to get over when I was looking for a therapist. And then another thing that kind of dissuaded me from sticking with therapy is the concept of connecting with your therapist. My current therapist that I have right now took me 3 different people talking to get to her. And the first thing she said when I had my first call with her was, this is just as much about you figuring out if I'm a fit for you as it is for me. If we don't click and we don't vibe, I'm not going to be helpful for you. And just like anyone you meet that you develop a relationship with, it's not always first time's going to work. Sometimes it takes a little bit of trial and error, a little bit of persistence, and knowing who and how you connect with someone to make sure that you find a therapist that vibes with you. So those are just two examples of when I felt really frustrated with therapy in mental health and I thought like maybe this wasn't for me. If you guys go through either of those situations, just know that it's okay. Keep pushing, stay persistent, and you will find a good fit of a therapist or a mental health resource that can really help you through growing your emotional intelligence.
Love that. I think that's great advice, Sam. It's a two-way relationship. Just because you're paying for them or they're there to work and help you, that doesn't mean that you can't speak up or try to find someone that makes more sense for you. I also want to say that I feel like a lot of people now are struggling more than, the normal 20-something-year-old has struggled in, recent years. I mean, maybe not the last 2 years, but even before then. And I think what comes with that is like there's a lot of people struggling. And maybe there's like this almost fatigue that you assume everyone's struggling and everyone's going through something. So like we're all in this together. So you are maybe more hesitant to reach out and say, hey, like, how are you doing? Because we're all going through this type of stuff. I think just reminding ourselves that reaching out to another person too, while it may not help yourself, you don't know what someone else is going through. You really don't. And it could be something just like, hey, how are you doing? And they're saying, I'm doing fine. Or maybe you'll find something that they're struggling like deeply and they just need someone to talk to and they've been holding that in. So being a resource to others, I think, is the most important thing when it comes to mental health. It's us supporting each other through difficult times and just checking in. Hey, what's going on? How are you actually doing? Rather than just saying, hey, what's up? What's going on? Let's talk to this, like let's get to this meeting, or yeah, let's, sip a glass of whiskey and watch sports and, just have like fun conversations. No, look them in the eyes, or if you're on a phone, hey, how are you doing? Are you doing well? What's going on? Like, or even you allude to something that you maybe know that happened in that person's life and see if they'll open up to you. If they don't open up to you, that's fine. But as long as you asked and you provided that support, that's what it's all about. So,
and a tip too, Parker, that I want to add to that is stereotypically, right? Young men in their 20s don't open up very easily. I think we all know that. And one thing that you can do if you maybe are concerned about a friend, but they're not opening up or they're saying everything's okay, vulnerability creates opportunity, right? And by you getting vulnerable with something that maybe you're struggling with and going through and looking out for help from them or advice from them, that might be just what they need to kind of break the ice, have them open up out of their shell and really tell you what's bothering them. So sometimes if you notice it, be the bigger, stronger person, get vulnerable yourself, because at the end of the day, we all have to have each other's back in this thing. COVID has made the world crazy and hard. And I think social media has, been a proponent sometimes of mental health struggles in our young male generation here. So if you are strong enough to help someone else out right now, be that resource and be that person for someone.
I think most people are probably strong enough to have, to be that resource for other people. And, I couldn't agree more with that vulnerability piece. Like, if you're vulnerable to someone, people like get it. Like, it's like something that switches in someone's head, I feel like, where it's like, dang, like they're opening up to me. Like, this is a serious conversation. We're not going to just joke more about this. Like, it's like, okay, we're having a real conversation here. So those are some tips. There's so many more. You could read books. You could download meditation apps, go run, whatever works for you when it comes to mental health. Like, figure that out and double down on it. We just wanted to provide a little insight into, how you could use your health insurance or your employer to dive a little deeper into some resources that you may not even know about. But I wanted to give Parker's perspective just for a second here. I have a quote. I don't really know who said it, so I'm just going to say that it's anonymous or unknown. But the quote is, "Mental health is not a destination, but a process. It's about how you drive, not where you're going. There's no end goal. Mental health goes from into the day. It's important until the day you die. There's no wow, this is it, and I'm here, and I'm done. I'm not focusing on this anymore. Like that's just not how it works. You're always in the driver's seat, and you're just going and going and going, and continue to remind yourself that if you feel great for a month or whatever, there could always be something that comes up. So it's about building that foundation of how you care for your mental health, so that you have the tools for when something comes up or, frustrates you or puts you in a little funk. You have those tools and that foundation to revert back on, so that you can get back in the driver's seat and continue on your destination, wherever you're going in life.
In Elevation Nation, I want to leave you with this resource for professional help. If you guys are really struggling, please reach out to someone. This is the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. It's 1-800-273-8255. If Parker and I can be of any help to anyone out there struggling, again, we would love to talk to you. So be strong, stay safe, and just know Parker and I love you guys. Until next week, Elevation Nation. Peace.